Hello, welcome to Scrap Time. My name's Christine, and this video is part of the Inky Background series, and I'm going to be talking about using focal point stencils with pastes. Now, I'm starting with these three here. This was actually done for another video, but I just want to show you. I was using the Deco Foil Transfer Gel. Now, they've just come out with the same gel, but it's called Duo. So this one here is the original one, and to apply your foiling and your flocking, you need to apply heat. The new one, you'll be able to just do it with pressure. So anyway, for now we have this one where it's heat. So when you put it on, it will be white, but it will dry clear. And you can see sort of that raised glaze pattern on there. So you want it to completely dry clear like this. Then you can apply a sheet of foil or flocking and it will pick up all that design. So this one here is more of the idea of then you can use a stencil with, in this case, the transfer gel and flocking to finish off one of the backgrounds and have a completed card in this case. So now I'll show you some that I did with the backgrounds we made. So this one is a little different because I didn't do the all over, but just by adding the birds. This is an older stencil from Dina Wakely, and it's all these birds. It's probably upside down. And just by adding a couple gold birds in the corner here, I just completed this. And this you could either frame or it could be a card front or a postcard. And just to show you, we have the different layers. This one has the clear under it. This one had some stamping. This one had the paint with the cardboard. So we just finished it off with a couple little birds. So now we get more into what I'm talking about, where you're using a stencil for a completed background. So this was my stencil here. And for this one, I use the Deco Foil Metallics in the black. Previously, I had used the Deco Foil Metallics in the gold for the birds. And you can see just by adding the stencil and the paste, the gel, we now have this really pretty design. You could put just a little word phrase on the bottom and your project is complete. So here we have this one. It's that same pattern, but it's large now. So I wanted to show you how you can still use your larger stencils with your smaller projects. So this one actually, I had used this stencil with the white gesso back when we did the gesso resist or textured background. Since then we had stamped and done a few other things on it. But then I came back and I shifted my stencil so you can still see that white underneath it all. And came back in, and this time I used the Glitz glitter gel in this pretty turquoise sea. And I just completed it by putting the exact same stencil back on it. And again, I could have it finished like this. It could be a pretty note card, or I could put a little phrase on it wishing somebody a happy birthday or whatever the occasion may be. And you can see how pretty that gel is. The glitter gel. It's like raised up, it's quite thick, and it's just like solid, fun turquoise gel. So on this one I used the exact same gel, and I had this small stencil. And so this is when you're buying stencils, there's all difference. Earlier we talked about stencils, their main purpose is to add texture, but now we're talking about stencils that have this nice focal point. So these flowers and blooms, just there fills in the rest of the card, and you know, you have like your white space and the colored, and it just sort of finishes it off. So this time I used the Metallics gel in Champagne. And I just want to point out that in the background of the card, there were these white areas. And because the champagne is close to white, Actually, I don't think, did I use champagne or did I use, sorry, I actually used this one. I used white pearl. It wasn't champagne, white pearl. But because it's white, that where you have the contrast with the blue, you can see the white really shows up. But when you have that white in the background, then it sort of blends a bit. So when you're picking what color gels you want to use, if you want that contrasty look, you want to look at what's in your background. So if I had done this in like gold or that, it probably would have given me a whole different effect. But again, you get the idea of just using your stencil to cover the entire background to finish off your project. So here I used again a big stencil, and it had this flower design. There's two designs on it. And so I just framed this flower in the background. And this is great because you get the background, there's still a lot there where you're seeing all that color and texture and everything coming through. But by using black, I used the black modeling paste from the Crafters Workshop. It's a nice thick paste. And the black, if you use black, you always have the prominence over the colorful background. And it just gives it a really nice finish. And then again, I can put a little saying or something down there, and it would be complete. And then finally, I want to show you two that didn't work so well. I used these small stencils, and so because it had such fine lines in there, it's really hard to see the difference. It came out fine, but there's just so much sparkle. This one is a little bit more crowded because again, it's really fine little detailing. So I just find it's too much sparkle. I liked it when I had the designs that have more space between it, so more of the background shows. However, if something like this happens, don't throw it away. I'm going to show you later how you can use it with die cuts and just use pieces of it, and it will still enhance a project. So I'm not going to use these as full finished things. I'm going to use them to cut later and add embellishments to a project. So I'm going to show you how this works. I have this background here that has many layers, and I'm going to use this stencil. So because part of my stencil here has paste on it, sorry for the noise. I just want to be able to see a bit through it so I can line up. Because on this side we can see, but I'm not sure. I think I need to move it over a bit. I'm going to flip it over and see just to line it up here. I can see the spacing. And while it's flipped over on the side, I'm going to put a piece of tape there. Let's see how lined up we are. Typically when I'm stenciling, I don't use tape. However, when I'm doing a background that's really complex or has a lot of things, I do like to tape down either on the sides or the ends or that, just so I know that it's not going to move on me. I'm going to use the black modeling paste so you can see how thick this paste is. I'll bring some up. It's like not going anywhere thickness. So when you have all these details up here, I want to make sure that it doesn't go under. And so I'm just sort of carefully dealing with those. The rest of the lines, I don't have little bits that's going to flip up on me, so I don't have to be as concerned. And I'm just going to try to scrape off the paste and apply it elsewhere so we're not wasting a lot of paste. Oops. We'll see if that affected it. I just put my thing underneath the stencil. So I think we're all done there. Can wipe my excess off. And there, so good. It didn't affect it when I put my thing underneath. So you can see how pretty that is and how the black really contrasts the background, and the design is very prominent. Now I just want to show you one quick thing when cleaning your stencils. I'm going to look for a piece of paper here. This one doesn't have a lot on it. I just need to grab myself a paper towel. So when you go to clean your stencil, first of all, I'm going to clean off this area. Got it all over my finger. I would put it back on something. And then this one I did a pretty good job at doing it. I don't know how much will come off. I think it's pretty dry. I think I was able to rub it pretty good. But if you had one that still had a lot of paste on it, if you clean it off onto another card, it will transfer. This one, as I said, it's pretty dry and I got it pretty thin. But that's my tip. Put it over something and clean it off into all the holes and you'll get another transfer of color. But that should give you some ideas of using your larger stencil designs with different pastes and gels to finish off some of your backgrounds. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos on YouTube. And for more Inky Backgrounds, be sure to check out the Inky Background playlist.